sure you must be aware about her. स्वाति मैम जैसे बोलते हैं कि सूरज के सामने क्या हम कैंडल लेके हम खड़े हो जाते हैं, तो ठीक है मैम, मीन्स I don't want to say much more. It is just like the kind of work that you have done in the area of making the hygiene as and the kind of the creations being created, which is worth respected all over India. I'm sure the movie that was also made was inspired by you. Akshay Kumar is a big fan of yours, and the things that we don't talk about in the normal public, to work in that area and to create a solution out of that, which is sustainable, which is acceptable, and which changes the life of the people. I'm sure the work has gone many miles with your presence, ma'am. So first of all, welcome to this event. This is a 5-day FDP going on under the Ministry of Happiness. There are many people, I was talking to Mamta ma'am also, many people are not even aware that we have Ministry of Happiness. When I started putting up the posters, that we are doing an event on happiness under the Ministry of Happiness, कह रहे ये कौन सी ministry आ गई है? ऐसी कौन सी ministry होती है? So this is state government of MP. Under that they have a Rajya Anand Sansthan. So and under that they call as Ministry of Happiness. So this was the first Ministry of Happiness kind of a thing. So we are doing that even jointly with them. So their trainers comes early morning, the first session. You must have seen that brochure also.
Yeah.
So the first session is taken by the trainers of the Happiness Ministry, and then we take forward with the other speakers with different experiences, different insights, so that we build up the momentum. So on behalf of Amity University, I welcome you, ma'am. And should I say one thing? Palak?
Yes.
Beta, please take over.
Very good evening, ma'am. It's an honor to meet you today. Before starting the session, I'll just give a brief introduction about ma'am. So, Mrs. Swati S. Bedekar, she's a trustee, Vatsalya Foundation, Vadodara. She's the president of Indian Federation of University Women's Association, affiliated to Graduate Women's International. She's the director of Discovery Science Resource Group, Vadodara, and she's the proprietor of SM Graphics Educational Kits. Ma'am started out as a passionate science educator based in Vadodara, while working as a science communicator in the interior villages of Dahu, Gujarat. She observed that girls studying from 6th standard onwards would regularly remain absent from the schools. On further investigation, she found out the Himalayan issues of mismanagement and ignorance of menstrual hygiene, which was its root cause. She discovered extreme unhygienic practices were being followed by rural girls and women while dealing with this natural phenomenon. Ma'am, in her systematic research, encountered similar conditions among women laborers, construction workers, housemaids, farm worker, and women belonging to the lower income strata of the society. In order to address this difficult problem, ma'am, under the aegis of Vatsalya Foundation, Vadodara, started the Sakhi project. It was a path-breaking initiative of setting up low-cost organic sanitary pad manufacturing units for underprivileged ladies. The objective was to help women and girls maintain their menstrual hygiene and also provide a source of income to those women. Ma'am has worked extensively on providing end-to-end solutions for menstrual hygiene awareness among women and girls. She and her team have designed and manufactured largely low-cost machines produce sanitary napkins. An eco-friendly terracotta incinerator, a Shuddhi Nashak, has been developed by her team for the disposal of used sanitary napkins. This was an important step, as earlier disposal represented a huge problem, especially in rural India and communities where garbage disposal is limited. To further this cause, ma'am has initiated a movement called the Hygiene Bucket Challenge to bring awareness on menstrual hygiene amongst girls and women, particularly in rural areas. This is aimed at getting women to give sanitary napkins to an underprivileged girl and talk about their problems and shift to hygiene protection to live an infection free life. More than 5,000 workshops have been conducted for this purpose across the country. 5 lakh beneficiaries have been reached through this movement. She has designed a hand-on activity kit on menstrual hygiene management along with Vigyan Parisar, Government of India, for nationwide distribution. Hundreds of volunteers have been trained to spread awareness through these kits. The profile is really elaborate. I really don't know like what to speak and what to escape. Ma'am has been awarded with some of the most renowned awards. She's a recipient of extraordinary work in women education and empowerment domain from Federation of Gujarat Industries in 2007 from hands of Defense Minister Shri Manohar Parrikar. She's a recipient of Sanskaram Award in 2017 at Vadodara. She received a Women and Youth Award from L'Oreal Paris and NDTV in the year 2016, and the list goes on. She has been associated with so many projects. She's associated with the National Council for Education, Research, Training in preparation of the online teaching modules for science teachers in service course. She's designed and developed Science Discovery Park, an interactive center for children to learn different concepts in science and play method. She's an official resource person for Vigyan Parisar for development and delivery of workshops for science and mathematics and menstrual hygiene. The list is never ending, and I think I would like our participants to get a chance to listen to ma'am, because it is an honor, and I would just hand over the stage and the platform completely to you, ma'am. It's an honor to listen to you now. Thank you.
Just one question. I mean, the screen, should I share it or you?
It's already shared.
It's already
shared,
shared.
Can you see that, madam? Can you see it?
I can see it. It's just that
no, okay. If you can do it, I will just unshare it. No problem. I will do it. Okay.
Yeah, I think I would like to share it myself.
Okay.
Is it visible?
Right now, no.
No. Okay. I think now it should be visible, right?
I think it's coming. Yes, it's here, ma'am. It's here.
It's there. Okay. So a very good evening to all of you, all the dignitaries that are present. It gives me immense pleasure speaking on this platform because, well, when I started this project, I had to start it because there was a lot of pain and misery involved in it. And the same project, I'm getting a chance to talk about it on the platform of happiness. Even working on the gravest of subject, you can gain happiness out of it, and how that's what I'm going to talk about actually.
And happiness is only this when miseries are removed. That is only happiness.
Yeah.
There is no other way happiness could be got. Right? We cannot get it.
Yeah, true.
So it's the right platform, ma'am.
Because see, I went to villages essentially as a science teacher, and the enthusiastic science teacher, and wanted to teach girls science, take up STEM education very, very seriously. What you can see in photographs, I'm using a lot of photographs, so you all get a gist of, what kind of women are involved and what is the impact on their lives. It was just like normal villages, and the basic shock was I couldn't find girls in the school after sixth standard, and which was quite intriguing. Like, it was obvious that why they don't come to school, but I was wondering why there is no solution for it. And then I understood that there was a need of local solution to local problems, because if Coca-Cola and Lay's chips can reach every village, even sanitary napkins should reach. But why they were not used, it was, the mentality of Indian women was the biggest hurdle in that. And around 50% of women, girls, reside in villages. And we were just letting go this much of potential, which I wasn't really comfortable with. So Project Sakhi. When we started this project, usually if you want to start a business, you have to do a lot of groundwork, a lot of planning. Here, I realized that the problem which I could see, the women were not at all aware of that problem, that this is a problem and we should be doing something about it. Everyone had almost accepted it as, well, this is our fate and this is how women are supposed to live. In order to change that, we had to actually work with the mindset of the women, introduce them what was the problem and why they should be living a happier life. Because basically, if a girl, doesn't have education, she loses her right to build a lifestyle for herself. I think it should not be acceptable for anybody. So we started. It was very slow start, but yet we started with women, means women who barely went to school. I think in my initial years, the most educated women we came across was, she had learned, till fourth standard. So these women, they were learning to understand the raw material, to understand the machines, to understand how inventory is kept, how quality is maintained in producing a product. How do you market your product? How do you talk to others about it? And all of this without really having any basic knowledge about why women menstruate. So side by side, they were trained on that part also. They was encouraged to go to other village women, talk to them. This was a major change in their life, that they were supposed to go to other women, take part in the otla parties, as they are called in villages, where women gather and clean vegetables or do some, other household work. Talk to them about menstruation, menstrual hygiene, why they were learning all this. This was the kind of change in their life, which is, you can see, it's quite visible. These are the same women who are having a good time sitting in the village. Often in those times, we used to call this Project Sakhi. This is not just a project, but this is a university. And in this university, all these women, they are getting a degree of an MBA. Mahila in business administration. That's how the involvement was, and that's how the enthusiasm was being built up. Here, I would like to say one thing. Just because we're talking about happiness, there are certain happiness hormones in us, and which give you that feeling of happiness. Here, we were in the group of women, particularly as I went deeper and deeper into the subject and found out how women tackled with the subject, the information was mind-blowing and very, very saddening, because without any protection, without any hygiene and the taboos that existed in the society, these women were put in so much of difficulties by the people in the house, in the villages, that it was almost a road to nowhere for them. Forget going to school. At times they couldn't enter their own home, or take part in any conversation sitting like this in the family. uh, but in that situation, when you're working in that situation, you still feel happy. uh, we used to call it dimag ke keede, and these are the keedes, like it gives you good amount of endorphin when you volunteer for something. When you face these challenges, I mean, see, there have been ample of times we've been thrown out of the villages for talking to women on this particular subject. We people, even women, have stopped working to talking to us. Many a times there have been attacks on initial Sakhi units, which we would try to build up, and people would just come and say, I mean, please don't spoil our village, don't do this here. But still, the endorphin would do its, trick, and would keep us going. Many times people ask us what kept you going, and even I would wonder that why is it like, why am I going there when people are literally spitting at you, throwing stones at you? Still, why this thing is on, and it must be the endorphin. And I can talk about this on the happiness platform, that when you get the taste of this particular hormone, well, life is good. Now, when we started these Sakhi units, this was essentially a social enterprise. And all of you know, like social enterprises, they are always started without any money, uh, without any future plans, because even if somebody helps you, well, you don't know how long we can go on with that. But here, that is one thing social enterprises that can do is, use your brains, use your creativity, and keep on innovating continuously. Here, we were a group of women. First thing I told them is, see, do not work in isolation. Don't go home and tell them this is my work. This I would like to tell actually all the young students that will be around, if they aspire to become entrepreneurs. Whenever your work, it becomes your family work. Try and involve everyone in any which way they can. You derive your strength from your family itself. And that is what I taught these women, that we are a group, this is our business, and this is our family business. So initially, the elders in the family, etc., the husbands who were kind of against, or who had some restrictions, opened up. And see, these are the little innovations that we went in with. We didn't have much funds, to arrange a good transport system, and our units also were, in small villages where it was really difficult. Communication, transportation was really difficult. One of my unit leaders' husband said, I'm an ST driver, and madam, why don't we speak to my boss? Because ST is one thing which goes to each and every village. And that meeting was so wonderful. That day onwards, we started actually transporting the raw material and the finished goods of Sakhi across Gujarat by this ST bus. Women who had barely traveled out of their villages would take their things, they go to the ST stand, put it in an ST bus, take a ticket for it, and then call up the destination that in so and so number ST, I'm sending the goods, please receive them. A little picture of empowerment, that for somebody who has not gone out, for them, sending your own products, your own goods somewhere else, like you send your Masi to her village. Uh, Another major problem, like all of you must be watching Indian television a lot. What is the biggest problem for a woman to go out of the work, out of house and work? Not to the farm, to work, actually to work, to a factory. Sasuma. And this problem had had to be tackled and tackled very smartly. So what we did was we made Saas Bahu teams for this work. And, this was probably, I have seen once they started working together, uh, Bahu wouldn't mind her Saas scolding her that please work properly, somebody's going to spend money on the product you make. And the Saas wouldn't mind her daughter-in-law stepping out of the house and doing all the work, so she can go there next day and check it. I call it the biggest and strongest Ma Gathbandhan on the earth, because when they started working together, actually became partners in crimes, they set a different kind of example. I have seen many of the household dynamics being changed because of that. When you do some work together, and not just the household work, something outside, something that gives, scope to show your talent. This is how, women who are generally called like fighter cocks, or whatever bad names they've been given, you find them becoming best of the friends and best of the working partners. And that is what you see here in this picture. One more benefit was probably Sakhi has the best quality control department, because as they say, because God couldn't love everyone, he created a mother. If you want to keep households in the best order, for that God created a mother-in-law. And when mother-in-law checks every pad, every product, you can imagine, we really proudly say that we have got the best quality control department at Sakhi. Like this, even in, there have been places which are really, really, what you can call inspiring. We were working in Chhattisgarh in one very small village called Sundara. And this particular unit we were setting up for widows of the Naxal affected families, widows in the Naxal affected families. And the euphoria was of that kind that, you could actually hear people firing machine guns. And here, the women who were facing all that trauma were operating machines. Very noble answer given by the women to the, unrest in the society. So we have seen all of that. There have been women who had nothing to do, had no voice in their own families. After learning these few skills, after becoming aware of their own body and how their health can affect the rest of the family, the change, I think we've been able to dent the system a little bit. This is something to be experienced actually by talking to them or being part of the project in some or the other way. In spite of this, when we taught the village women that this is what is going to give you comfort, and this is what is going to really change your life, you can pursue your education. There was a time when all these women suddenly stopped coming to the unit. The reason is, most of them were villagers, some of them were tribals, and their relationship with their environment is quite different. Environment, they never see their environment or the nature around them as a resource for their well-being. They said, we don't know what to do with our used pads, and it is creating a litter around the village. And like, our conscience doesn't give us permission. Just for our comfort, we can spoil our village or spoil our environment. And that was something to think for us, that this is one problem. No one, absolutely no one has ever dealt with it, never thought about it, that in Indian villages where there are multiple limitations, people are not wanting to spend money on the electricity. Rather, in most of the villages there was no electricity, because I'm talking of some year 2011, that time we had to work and develop something which was as organic as other things in the villages. So we developed this small terracotta incinerator which runs without any electricity. And that was a solution, a little equipment, because women in villages know how to operate a chula. And this is so simple, 3-second operation of putting in the napkin, which keeps a girl's privacy and dignity intact. And every evening, in 24 hours once, just insert some burning splinter into the incinerator from down. The upper chamber is the storage as well as combustion chamber, and the ash automatically goes down in the lower chamber. So the incinerator becomes ready for the next day's use. With this small solution, which was also local, for a local problem, derived for a local problem, again done the wonders. And of course, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan helped us by putting it in all the government schools meant for girls. And well, their study tells us that this definitely increased the number of girls staying in the schools, because now they had the comfort of using a napkin and disposing it off responsibly without harming their environment. This was another innovation that really gave a push to awareness as well as use of a sanitary napkin, which had become a greatest need in Indian villages because of two things. One is scarcity of a cotton cloth. Most of the village women these days wear a nylon sari, which is available cheaply. Cotton saris have become a luxury for the rich people, so it is not generally available to the girls out there. And secondly, scarcity of water. I live in a water scarce state of Gujarat. My neighboring state is Rajasthan, where women have to still walk few kilometers to fetch drinking water. So in such areas, use of a disposable napkin had become a necessity, not a luxury. And this Ashuddhi Nashak and Sakhi napkins gave this exact convenience for the girls to go to school, for the women to go to work. This change, women had done it themselves. That was the most beautiful part of it. That instead of waiting for someone to come and give them a solution for their problems, they themselves were part of the solution. And henceforth, I think this like a revolution, this was spreading because after they found Ashuddhi Nashak, the Sakhi units, which were like in like 25, 30 villages, they were there. Suddenly they spread out to number of villages in number of states. Every state, women had the same problems and they were wanting to try out if we can find the solution. So now this became a full-fledged program, a full-fledged enterprise, because what made sense was women had pinned their hopes now in this as an enterprise, as a mode of livelihood for their own families. And they were willing to give their 100%. So they had to learn a lot of other skills, and we started working on that. First of all, it was important to form a proper society where they could make profits. They don't, to make sure that two Sakhi units don't fight with each other, but work hand in hand. What we started is a major awareness program in all the states of India. So meeting girls and women, propagating the message through songs and bhajans, because when we made posters and displayed them, we found hardly women are able to read them. Next day we found them on the top of the home roofs, to stop to save it from the rains. So there was a necessity to find different means, and that's how we've been involved. Many artists, many college students, many women, housewives into the project in whichever creative manner they could, spread this message of hygiene, health, and freedom from taboo of menstruation. This is a little song which we made, which was played across villages in their functions.
Swati ma'am, is the what? Hello, Swati ma'am. Is the network coming? Okay.
So this way, there were street plays, bawais. One very interesting thing was in this, men played a very important role, and how to involve them was a very big problem. That this is an enterprise. Definitely, a woman is going to, need help in sort of managing the sales, going to different places. So we involved men. And how did we do that? We made WhatsApp groups of village men. Smartphones were, becoming popular, and men always loved flaunting them. So whatever messages we couldn't talk to them and eye to eye, we decided to spread those messages over WhatsApp. This was little difficult because we thought that we might get a backlash from people, but no. Education, if given in the right way at the right time, people like it, because we use WhatsApp to spread the message to men that if you're a boyfriend, if you're a son, if you're a father, if you're a husband, you have equal stake in the women's health, and that's why how you should behave and how should you help her. So this was a very a creative use of the available technology in a project which was still supposed to be a taboo in the society. These are some of the things, we tried fighting it at every possible level, right from the village women to even government, to include it in the textbook, etc., etc. Those are some of the programs. Now it was time. While Saki was getting popular in the villages, we have that little mentality that Indian hai, garib logon ke liye hai, so we don't know how the product would be. Here I wanted every middle class, thinking class woman to be part of this project. And that's how we started this hygiene bucket challenge. And what is this challenge? The challenge is one empowered woman empowers one girl. You have to, take 12 packets of sanitary napkins and gift it to a girl. You can see it here in this photograph. Someone is gifting a packet of 12 sanitary napkins packets. That means you're giving her a gift of hygiene for the whole year, so that she need not miss the school. She can continue going to school with this kind of protection available to her. This is a small gift for an empowered woman. Maybe one coffee in Sicily or half a pizza. But for that girl, this is a life-changing experience. She gets hooked to using sanitary pads and having an infection-free life. So next year, obviously, she starts making efforts that how she can get it herself. And I'm glad Perhaps women wanted this. They wanted to talk about it, and that's how number of women across the country joined this challenge, and we could reach to date 5 lakh beneficiaries. And this has been entered into Limca Book of Records because with public participation we could do this. And what does this mean? 5 lakh beneficiaries. That much work for our Sakhi units. To the women who were the new entrepreneurs, they got so much of work. This was one creative way. I think, marketing is done in many other ways. We had no money to call Akshay Kumar or anybody to talk about the small product the women were making. But this is how every woman became ambassador. And today I would appeal all the listeners that please join this movement. Please change one girl's life. This again, a very good source of endorphin to you. Take the taste of it, definitely. And well, tell me later on, how was your experience? With this, to establish this as a enterprise, I mean, these were new entrepreneurs. And we were talking of a village situation where a woman, even if she has money in her pocket, she wouldn't go to a shop and buy sanitary pads. Why? Because a man sells them. I think many of the city bred girls also would be aware that you would be getting your sanitary napkins in a black polythene, as if you're carrying some kind of bomb. But here we established a woman-to-woman access for this particular pads. So it became very easy for women to catch hold of these pads. Again, a revolutionary thing done in marketing, because this is what, even during this time of pandemic, women have been making and giving pads to their counterparts in the villages. So at least their life and their health, essentially their health, is taken care of. Here, I would just like to look back. This is how you can see women in a long gungat. This is how they came to me. And you can just see the other picture, that the gungat is still there. We do respect that. But this gungat is now that of self-confidence and self-esteem. That is the difference between, what was and what a woman can be if she decides to. Well, it is essential for a social enterprise because though this is a social enterprise, people are doing a lot of mehnat. But along with that, they need to get their mehtana and munafa, right? I mean, making profit is necessary. So spreading this across is necessary. So we are keeping with the time. So we started making these, placing these small vending machines, which run again without electricity, in villages all around. So women could get it, themselves. Then we had some small kiosks to be placed in the village market. They have weekly markets in all the villages. So you'll find nice Sakhi kiosks in all those village markets. Similarly, the next thing we did was to open an e-shop. This is what pandemic has taught us, that if people can't go out, the product should reach their homes. And that's what these women, please try and remember, most of these women, means today, there are 160 Sakhi units across India. There are a few more in the neighboring country, that is Bhutan, which is perhaps the happiest country in the world. Their schoolgirls are making sanitary napkins, and the women in community, they are using them. Another step towards happiness. So keeping with the time is necessary. So of course, you be it from the village or you be it from the city, it's important that you keep adopting what is new in technology and what suits your business, and which doesn't spend much time also. I'm still including in this particular picture an ST bus and the village post office, because that is what we use, is the cheapest means of transportation and couriers. Indian Postal Service, again, you have a post in every village, And that is how Sakhi napkin can reach every village, even if you order it over the internet. And this whole system is been established by the women who were a few years back in Ghungat. Uh, Again, when you run a social enterprise, these are some of the important things. As students, you must know that empowerment of the women and the workshops being conducted for them is essential. Empowering schoolgirls, knowing about it, learning about it is essential. Creating facilities in schools for easy periods, like when there were even before this, building of toilet movement started, we actually had lot of negotiations with the government and education officers to give girls one changing room in the school. There may or may not be toilet, but if they have changing room, girl can come to a school, change her pads at an appropriate time, and continue her studies. So she doesn't, lag behind and has to leave the school. Then creating a movement to bring social awareness and deconstruction of taboo. This has been the most important part of this whole Sakhi movement, because deconstruction of taboo can happen only with experiential education. We used to take the girls. If one girl was sitting aside because of the period, I would take all the girls and go to her house. And let's give her a company. Let us eat our tiffin with her. And without having to tell anything, girls by experience learn that nothing really happens. This is only a myth in our mind. Then of course diversification is very important, so that this business can be supported. These my women, they had learned to identify the problems that came with it. So they themselves said, like, many of the tribal women don't use innerwears, so let us start creating knickers for them, and let us start giving the knickers so they can use sanitary pads in that required particular time period. They started making knickers. Then, because there were no soaps in the schools, they started making soaps themselves. They started making hand sanitizers themselves. This is a little, diversification. So more and more village women could be attached to one Sakhi. Then, through conducting studies on this particular topic through academic agencies is important. So we invited university students to do their research. We were so busy working that it was impossible to document everything and do a lot of research. So at least 25 universities and a lot of students are attached with it. Actually examining, learning, and making analysis of every aspect. I invite Amity University students also to do that. One more important thing, that whenever you get academic credibility to a project, it becomes popular among people, and more women want to get associated with it. We started a certificate course with a properly laid out curriculum. This is a 15-day certificate course, and any university can take it up as an elective. So students get the certificate, and that certificate is useful to get the loan to start or to set up a unit. This is one very convenient thing and important, useful thing for the society, that many women who want to work but don't know how to get the money for it can easily get loans from bank or from Mudra or other like any other MSME scheme if you possess this certificate. So these were
So,
efforts.
ma'am, this certificate is for like 3 months, 1 month. Like how long it is this course, certificate course?
15-day. It's a 15-day course.
And after doing this course, the people
Uh,
in the rural areas can get loans from the banks.
they get loans from that.
Fantastic.
Yeah, this certificate they become eligible to get loans. That they have the knowledge on how to run this particular unit, and it's a well laid out course, so it is definitely beneficial for them.
Fantastic.
Here, I would like to tell you some stories about Sakhi Shiros. You've been meeting a lot of heroes, but these are my Shiros. She's Moody Bain. She comes from a Danpur, a small village in Dahod district of Gujarat. She had survived. She was a case of cervical cancer, and she did the daring to start the Sakhi unit. When she came to me, she said she was my science education volunteer. She said, 2 महीने में काम दे दो, 2 महीने में मैं मर जाऊंगी. I said, I mean, what is she talking of? She said, like, a lot of women die like this. We get a foda kind of a thing, a boil kind of a thing, and women die. So I took her to the district hospital, and DO said, yes, in this village, there is cervical cancer, a lot of it. So I said, let us try and do the small effort. Let us at least eradicate one reason for it. Today, Moody Ben is alive, running the unit happily and making sanitary pads available to at least 25 villages around her village. You can see one small building. She's Shanti Ben, and she comes from a village called Chopatpalli. It's somewhere in Madhya Pradesh, and she was thrown out by the villagers as a churel, as a witch woman. We started the unit with her. She was staying alone on river, and there was a small temple, and in that temple complex, we said, let us build the factory here. Nobody helped us because she was a witch woman. The other women said, if we are going to get work, if we are going to earn our own food, we will build this factory ourselves. This small unit, what you are seeing, is 100% built by women alone. The third one is she's Akhtar Bain. She's from village Baska. Leaving aside the boundaries of religion, community constraints, she is giving livelihood to at least 25 women in her mohalla. These are Sakhi Shiros, and this is the difference they have brought in the society. That's why we institutionalize an award as Sakhi Shiro. These are some of the shining stars. Of course, this award is also now supported by Z Cinema. Someday you might see them on television. There is a knee shop which some of these women are running. Now, actually, I happen to be nobody in Sakhi. This is completely a social organization run by all these women, unit leaders. The structure is something like this: that if they run a unit for 6 months properly with all rules and regulations, right, and are able to work, they become members of the Sakhi board. And well, the rest of the things, you're all students of management and all, you know all of that. So they have started recently a shop called sakhivatsalya.org. Here I would like to kind of talk about this particular pyramid.
Yes, sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to say that we are like it's 5:40. So maybe 5 minutes we have some question answer, something like that. If you take time, no problem.
Perfect. This is I think last or second last slide. So I'm just finishing. Okay. See, in life, you have all the needs for which you work for. There are biological, physical needs. You have to take education. Then your safety needs, social needs. There is a need of self-actualization, and which you have to work yourself, which you do it for yourself, for your own happiness. Try and do that. All the women associated with Sakhi tried it. And you know what the status is, what the magic is. Their status was that of a maid in India. But today, they're all leaders of Made in India pads. They are my Sakhis. So celebrate the Shiros. Thank you very much. I hope you liked whatever little I shared about.
I was just wondering one thing, like those who want to support, like you showed one small factory which this unit which these women made it and which gave employment to 25 women, right?
Yeah.
So just I want to know, like if somebody want to support,
Yeah.
So to build that small unit, how much space is required and how much cost goes to make that one small unit that gives employment to 25 women?
Well, all you need is a room of area 10 by 10.
10 by 10 feet, that's
10
all.
by 10, yes. Yeah.
Okay. If somebody want to volunteer the space in, say, not in rural area, maybe in metro area, do you do something in metro area or only in rural areas?
No, well, I talked about it because this I started in the rural area. You can say this was a kind of a smart move, not to not to go and brush with the multinationals initially, but to convert non-users of the pads into users of the pads. But today you'll be happy to know that even the city of Delhi has 3 units. City of
Okay.
Bombay, Bangalore, it is everywhere now.
And how big the space? The space is the
The
same
space
size?
is the same. Space is the
10
same.
by 10,
All
10 by 10.
10 by 10 room, yeah.
And
If
do
you
we
have
need,
bigger space, you can do bigger things. But this much space is definitely enough.
and
Very comfortably, women can work.
so how do
Yes.
we arrange those sakhis for that space, whichever location comes in?
Okay. How I arrange this, Sakhis, where every state has registered self-help groups of women. Either you can encourage some of those women, or these days, particularly we started 2 units after the pandemic. During this time of pandemic, families came to us that all of us are at home, we want to work, and well, we had to keep our supply to the hospitals. So an entire family works on the unit, does production, and they are happily now supporting their own family, which is also good enough. We also saw that many of the people had to flee their place, I mean, go to their villages. But if this is there, right there, and this is how we had built units in Zatari refugee camp in Jordan for Syrian refugees. We have 12 units there inside a container.
Where do you say Jordan?
Jordan, yeah, for
You,
Syrian refugees,
okay.
refugee women. The Zatari camp has 2 lakh, over 2 lakh refugees. Out of that, 50% are women. And we built the units in such a way that if at all they get a chance to go back home, they can take their unit from there, go home, and continue with the work. So whenever we got a chance, and who can work with it, see the kind of technology that we have designed, that simple machines that women can build, maintain themselves, making biodegradable, 100% biodegradable pads, which raw material comes right from our own country, from vegetable-based fibers,
Fantastic.
vegetable-based
Fantastic.
fibers. And that has made it so convenient that even blind school girls make the pads. Autistic children can make these pads. We are
Blind students
working with,
making pads.
yeah, autistic children, because this is a repetitive operation. They are able to learn and do it. The machines are designed in such a way that everything is so similar. Then we also work with LGBT community. We have a few units in and around Mumbai, where LGBT community, we are trying to give them an alternative livelihood. So one can experiment with lot of people.
Right.
I'm looking for an all men group who would make the pads. Right now they're all there. There's another this thing coming up, that men coming home from work and helping their wife in packaging karna hai, kuch karna hai, can I help you? This is a new culture. I mean, it's a very sweet gesture and a new culture beginning in the the largely how the society is, and how this change in household dynamics is also necessary.
Fantastic. I think we are on time.
Yeah.
Last time when you came, it was an internal session for the students of Amity. Now it's an external session with the Ministry of Happiness. And I'm
Mhm.
sure this recording will stay in the, should I say, the archives of the university and also ministry. and
Okay.
this will be spread all across the India and all over the places. And this will remain in the records. Something big is going in India, and somebody is leading this initiative. Though many people, those who are aware about you through movies or through attachment in rural programs and all that, they're aware of this. But the large population who are not even looking into this direction, they must be aware about this. And I'm sure those who are fathers having daughters, they should be most aware. A time will come for a father also to take care of such issues for their own daughters if they don't have sons. So they have to be aware of those issues also.
Sure.
And there is no shying away from those, because that's your daughter. And all the misery of the daughter is father's misery also. As simple as that.
Yeah, yes.
So thank you so much, ma'am. Palak, over to you, beta.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, your experience and efforts in handling the major issues among women and girls and improving their hygiene and health is really inspiring. Hearing you today has filled our hearts with pride and took our vision to a new dimension of happiness. Your stories inspired us and shared a message of living a life free from taboos and superstitions. Thank you so much for sparing your time, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Participants, just check if anybody has any kind of.
Yes.
They are giving full of compliments to you, ma'am. Navdeep
Yes.
Kaur is there, Dr. Navdeep. She's in really inspiring session. Prajesh has said greetings to you, and Veena has shared her greetings to you. And they all are either professors, directors, deans, and all from different parts of India. And I'm glad that they have joined. Just before your session, we had a session with Ms. Mamta, who is the CEO of Bharti Foundation. You must be aware of. So she was here. She was talking about the school situations, how she has managed the schools. She has 180 schools to manage in rural areas. So she was talking about her experiences, how difficult it is for managing a rural student. Means उनके यहाँ तो financial issues भी होते हैं, तो school is free of cost from education to dress, everything they take care of that, and it's a joy to manage them. And the way she was expressing, so same way I'm feeling about your situation also. You were treating every girl as a daughter. They were treating like some students as their daughter, but you have taken the whole gender in rural areas as half like this, and also inspiring the men to talk about with the daughter, with the mother, and the way you said it, ना कि थोड़ा सा वो भी help करे packaging करने में and all that. थोड़ा वो डायपर बदले हैं, डायपर बनाए भी नहीं, डायपर बदले सिर्फ डायपर बना के भी दिखाएं जरा, kind of thing. Thank you so much, Swati ma'am. It's an honor to have you. Thank you so much. Palak, for the closing for the session today.
On behalf of Reiki Circle of Excellence for Science of Happiness, Amity University, Noida, it's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks to Mrs. Swati Bedekar. Ma'am, your